Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This is my top cryptos as we head into Tuesday, January 16th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Real quick, a couple clarifications. Number one, Bitcoin cryptos are open 24/7. So yes, this candle right here will be moving as I talk. And then second, I'll be using the 4-hour time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks represents 4 hours worth of time. Again, because crypto is open 24/7, I want this chart and its relevance to last as long as possible. So by going and using 4-hour candlesticks, that'll just make all these charts stay relevant for as long as possible. So the first one here, we are looking at Bitcoin. And in this situation, very, very intriguing set of circumstances here because you have such a well-defined pattern. And I emphasize that because when you have a well-defined pattern, that means lots and lots of people are watching the same things and wondering the same thing. And when that's the case, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, you can have some very dynamic movements. And this pattern right now that is in play, and before I say it, let me just quickly say that just because there's a certain pattern does not mean that for sure guaranteed something's going to happen. Because yes, right now this is a bearish pattern, but again, that doesn't mean that for sure the price is going to go downwards. But nonetheless, we have this bearish pattern here. So let me get the bottom part of the pattern drawn, the support. And then for the top of the pattern, we're actually just going to go ahead and use this pink line here, which is the well-known, very famous 200 period moving average. So no shock right here. You can see the price got rejected right around that area. And even as I speak right now, this candle got rejected right around that area. So that is going to be the top part of the pattern, and then maybe make the pattern easy to see. Let's just keep it all one color. So we have our support, we have our resistance, we have the big downwards move right there. And then for you golfers out there, let me put the golf hole up here. So we have here an upside down pennant, or in other words, a bear pennant. So once more, no guarantees, but would it be shocking? Would it catch people off guard if this thing ultimately gains more continuation of the downside by breaking through the bear pennant? No, I don't think that would shock anybody. But also, to be fair, as I speak right now, you can see that the near-term candle that's formed, nice green candle. So is this thing going to come up here and push to the upside of the channel? That's always possible too. And at that point, that would wipe away the bear pennant and you would no longer be able to say that it's currently a bearish pattern. But as of now, as I speak, that's what we have right now on the Bitcoin 4-hour time frame, the bear pennant pattern. So are the bears going to get continuation on the downside? We'll see what happens. Next crypto we're looking at is Ethereum. And overall, this one is in the exact opposite of Bitcoin, where Bitcoin was in a bear pennant. Ethereum is actually in a bull pennant. So let's get this bull pennant drawn up, but also same disclosures. Just because there's a bullish pattern does not mean for sure guaranteed Ethereum is going to continue on up. But, you know, I don't think it would catch anybody off guard if that were to be the case. So there's the top part of the pattern. There is our lower trend line. So let me change that to green to represent support. And then hopefully just to make it easier to see, keep it one color here. So we have our resistance, we have our support, you have the nice upwards move here, you have the golf hole down here. So ourselves another bull pennant pattern. So same general idea, same talking point as those self-fulfilling prophecies. This is not a great discovery on my part. I assure you a lot of people have noticed that Ethereum is in a bull pennant pattern. So when a lot of people are watching the same thing, wondering it, self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want. But if the price were to come up here on Ethereum and get the break up through the top part of that pattern, it's more than valid to think that that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure and additional momentum because people are buying because it's a breakout and I'm a breakout trader. Oh, and Ethereum is breaking out. Oh, I'm supposed to buy. And then they buy for those reasons. So like I said, is that guaranteed to happen? Of course not. But is that at least a valid thought to have? Absolutely. So as far as Ethereum, the exact opposite of Bitcoin. Ethereum's got the bull pennant. Next one here we are looking at is Solana, and relatively similar to Ethereum in the sense of, you know, got itself a nice little miniature bull pennant, not nearly as big as Ethereum's. This is a, you know, I'd say a much more narrower little bull pennant right there. But I want to focus on more so kind of some general areas because that's where this is now approaching some interesting levels, namely this area right up here at, and let me make sure this is all on the screen. Yeah, right there at 2060. You can see back here that at one point this acted as an area of support, and then technical analysis states when levels of support are broken, which it was broken right there, they tend to act as resistance, and then right there is where it acted as resistance. But now the price is certainly within striking distance of that level. So my point here is that yes, you do have that little bull pennant, but even if the price were to break to the upside of the pattern. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's a good step. That's what you want to see from a bullish standpoint. My point here is that I just want to get too excited because not that far away, you have that area of resistance right there, which is now proven to, already have been a resistance once. So I'm not saying that 2060 can't be broken. I'm just saying that a breakout is still going to require the bulls to bring extra strength to the party, because it's definitely going to be apparently a pretty, and let me just offer up a little context there. That'll be a relatively stubborn area, or at least I think it would probably be relatively stubborn moving forward. If there are any sorts of pullbacks, then the level here that has really kicked into behaving as support is that purple line right there, the 50-period moving average. You can see ever since the price has gotten above it, it's done a good job holding there, and then right there, just an absolutely beautiful bounce right off it. These other ones were a little sloppy, but that one right there was just a perfect bounce off that level. So if there is any sort of pullbacks, and keep an eye on the purple line. Reminder, 50-period moving average, keyword being moving. So as time goes by, that line is going to move itself higher and higher. So it's essentially like a trend line that's going to draw itself for you. But all in all, nice little miniature bull pennant pattern. But with the break, can it break through 2060? That's going to be the key question. Next one here, we have Litecoin. And Litecoin, interesting situation here as it sits right there on that 50-period moving average. You can see it's sloped upwards and the price is, bounced off it right there. But as I speak right now, the price is still very, very close to that area. So it's one of those situations where, is this purple line going to hold? Is it going to fail? If you're watching this video, several hours from now, maybe you'll have that data. But again, each one of these is a 4-hour candle. So if you're watching this in a couple days from now, it'll be interesting to see what actually happens in regards to this little, consolidation right here above that 50-period moving average. So keep an eye on that. If the price does break down below there, next key area of support would then be that former breakout point right around 67.20. And then as far as areas of resistance, the level that, at least in my opinion, I think a lot of people are going to be watching right up here at basically $76, give or take a little bit. You can see this was an area of resistance there. And then right there, got up around that area and once again failed back to the downside. So if there is any sort of curl back upwards, in my mind, that's going to be one of those areas that you got to think a lot of people will be watching, so you can once again bring in that talking point of those potential self-fulfilling prophecies. But overall, definitely an interesting dynamic up there at that 76 mark if it can get the bounce off that 50-period moving average. Next one here is Dogecoin, and overall, this is more in the kind of flavor, I would say, of Bitcoin right now, with the bearish pattern, more specifically bear pennant. So let me change that to green. And maybe not, it's not as blatant, but I'll leave that up to you. But what my point here is that there's definitely some very well-defined areas of resistance here that can be drawn into play, which, so if you want to just call that a symmetrical triangle, a wedge, like I said, whatever terminology you want to use, but within the bigger picture of things, you do have an overall downtrend right now. And within this downtrend, you just have that big old pattern that I drew right there. So this wedge pattern within a downtrend, you'd still have to call it a bearish wedge. So I mean, you'd have to call it a bearish symmetrical triangle, just because it is occurring within the context of a downtrend. So whatever you want to call it, the fact that everything is in a downtrend right now, you'd still have to throw the word bearish in front of any sort of pattern that you're drawing. But as I've said, and final reminder, just because something's bearish doesn't mean the price is for sure going to go down. Just like because something is bullish does not mean the price is for sure going to go up. But nonetheless, those are going to be the two key levels that I think a lot of people will be watching, which once again, we have that potential self-fulfilling prophecy. If the price is able to break up through the top part of the pattern right there, next key battleground from an overall resistance standpoint, going to be that pink line up there, the 200-period moving average. If the price gets a bearish breakdown to the downside, then one of those levels that you would definitely want to see hold, if it does pick up that much more momentum, is down there at the 0.074 mark. So let me change that to green, and then also just change up the style to have it stick out a little bit more. You'd want to keep an eye on that. And there's no fancy logic other than that, other than the fact that that's where it stopped bleeding last time, was that level. So like I said, nothing fancy there, just a question of where did the bleeding stop previously, and that was, down there at the 0.074 mark. But all in all, nice little pattern here. Nice in the sense of it's got some well-defined levels, which from a trading standpoint can produce those self-fulfilling prophecies, which is what you're always looking for. So that wraps up the top cryptos moving forward. If you enjoyed what you saw here or you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used, then definitely get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering later on in the week. It'll be Thursday, January 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So I hope to see you there. As far as the top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, do a couple things for me. Hit that like, or excuse me, these crypto videos if you like these. Let me know down below. Usually I'm just doing stocks, but if you enjoy the cryptos, then I'm open to doing more of these. But you got to communicate that to me by hitting the like button and leaving a basic comment down below. And if you do want to get signed up for that class, there is a link down in the description box you can use to get signed up. Or if you're watching this at my site, there's an area right on the webpage itself you can use to click to get signed up. So like I said, sign up for that class, hit that like button, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.